Hello there and welcome back to the channel. This is Mel's Gaming here with another The Hunter Classic video. Now in today's video we are going to be searching for a trophy axis deer, which are the new species in the Hunter Classic here on Bushrangers Run. However, we are going to be starting off with this feral hog, which had some decent tusks on it, and with an estimate of 800 to 1,190, that could be a potentially pretty decent scoring feral hog. And with the lack of axis deer that were in this area at the time, I decided that I would take this guy because he should at least be worth a trophy shot with those tusks. Now, I just waited for him to get into a position here where I could shoot him, and I took two shots there, and I'll be honest, I thought both of them missed, but as I walked over, he was dead, and it turned out that I had actually hit him with both shots. So that was really a lot better than I expected. I just thought I'd completely missed both shots. I thought the second shot might have hit a pig in front of him, but apparently both got him. And some really impressive looking tusks. But yeah, body and then hip and intestine. So 1,113 scoring pig. That's really not bad for a feral hog. Definitely worth a trophy shot. And I got to use the feral hog poses here just to get a decent picture of him, because they are really hard to get pictures of. But now moving on to the axis deer, which is going to be the focus of this video, I have been spending a lot of time searching for trophy axis deer. Now, anything for a trophy axis deer is basically over 200 from what I'm seeing. I've seen up to 210, but anything over 200 is definitely a decent axis deer. And this is what we're looking for, is a buck like this with really wide and tall antlers. This was the biggest buck I had seen at this point, and I was really excited to see one of this size. They are absolutely fantastic looking. The true racks for them in Classic just look beautiful. That is a stunning looking deer, and they just look amazing here on Bushrangers. They're so blended in with their environment that they can be very hard to see as well. So you've got to really keep your eyes peeled for them. But when you see a set of antlers walking through the bush like that, you do tend to notice them. And this was, as I said, the first buck of this caliber I'd seen. The rest of them had been sort of 140s, 150s bucks, really maximum. And I've been doing so many hunts, all over an hour, just walking around in the area where the axis deer have been, desperately looking for one that could make 200. Now, I popped in there with the 9.3 and it wasn't the best of shots. However, any shot with the 9.3 will kill them, even if it's just a body hit. That's why I like using this gun for the axis deer. I have found it to be really, really efficient. He didn't go very far at all before he actually dropped. Now, look at this guy on the ground. That is a beautiful specimen of an axis deer buck. You can see he's got a really nice frame, nice and wide and tall, and he also had this little extra point sort of heading towards the very tip of his antler, and at this point I wasn't sure if that is an addition or a detraction from his score. However, it does seem to be a feature of the bigger axis deer males, and he's 192.2047, so not quite up to that 200 mark, even with a buck that looks as good as this. So this only made me more determined to get a 200 plus, and looking back at this footage, I can see now that he could have been a little bit wider and a bit taller, but this is basically what you're looking for a good axis deer, is nice, wide and tall antlers. And that was a really good start to looking for a trophy buck. Now, this next buck was a little bit later on in, I think, the same day, many hunts later at this point, because finding big axis deer for me has been a challenge, and I was just scoping the area there to make sure there was nothing else, but the guy that we are interested in is this one here. Now, once again, you can see the similar frame, nice and wide, but this one didn't look quite as big to me as the previous one. However, at this point, I'm still learning how to judge them on their antlers and everything like that. They're still a relatively new species into the game. They've only been in there for a few days. But anything that looks like this, I make it a priority to take out, just in case, and of course because it is nice to get a decent sized buck when you've been hunting them for a while. Now, this guy was coming into a call actually, and I was just waiting to try and get a good shot on him to try and drop him because I do prefer getting good shots on animals, even though a body shot will kill them. I do like to get a decent shot. And here on Bushrangers, I've noticed that basically when you're lying on the ground, you've either got grass in the way and crouched up. The aim can, of course, be a little bit wobbly, as is with most guns, even though I'm like level 13 with the 9.3. And these guys blend in so well. Like, he just, to me, I could not see him there. And I knew he couldn't have fleed off. I knew he was still there. But just, they blend in so well. So definitely use your binoculars or spotting scope to scan your environment, even if you don't think you can see any movement, just in case there is one hidden in some brush. Now, I managed to drop him there with a shot from the 9.3, which is exactly what I wanted to do. Quite close range as well. And just walking over to him now. Again, you got that really nice, impressive frame on these beautiful models. But yeah, this guy did look a little bit like the one that I just shot, but a bit smaller to me on the ground. And yeah, 185.4724. So a little bit smaller, but still a good buck on the search for a 200 plus. And I'm always happy to take one that has this kind of antler style. And I really did want to try and get one like this for the video on the day that they released, but it has taken me so long to actually find one that was of this caliber at all. So I hope that having several of these size bucks in this video will make up for that. Now, moving on to the next animal in this video, again, an absolutely monstrous size axis deer buck. You can probably just see his antlers moving around there in that brush. They are incredible looking antlers. Now, once I actually managed to press the right key and get the caller out, I decided I'd give a few goes on the call and just try and get him to come along this water's edge, because this guy looked absolutely monstrous. I was so excited when I saw this guy. He looked much bigger than the buck in the previous clip, and at this point I was hoping that he would make it because these clips are all in order, so you can see how I'm learning their scoring and everything, and having the score estimates on the spotting was really helpful. I've been leveling up my tracking and spotting a lot. I know I'm nearly level 8 tracking. I'm not sure what I am on the spotting, but obviously enough to have the score estimates, which are still quite wide at this point, but seeing it over 200 is a good thing. But just look at that buck. How insanely awesome does that guy look just walking through the brush there? These guys are just fantastic. EW did such a good job of actually making these guys a really worthwhile addition to the game. I will go to Bushrangers solely to hunt these. And as I mentioned, I have just been hunting these over the past few days. There will be some more Call of the Wild videos coming soon. Don't worry about that. I will get one posted soon. I have been working on some. But I really just wanted to spend quite a bit of time dedicated to this new Specion Classic while they're new and fresh, and just trying to get some kind of trophy one to actually show off to you guys so that if you don't know what one looks like in game, you know a bit more about what they look like. Now, looking at this guy, I could see that he had those little extra points on both antlers that I was talking about with that first buck, sort of near the tip of the antler. Maybe you can see it just very slightly while I'm looking at him here through the spotting scope. Now, looking at the score sheet and of ones that were on the leaderboard, I noticed that a lot of them had that extra point on the antlers, so I was really hoping that this guy could be the one to crack 200. So all I really wanted at this point was just one to crack that 200 mark, similar to how I was with Mule Deer, just to get something on the board. And I managed to drop him there with the 9.3, and oh my gosh, I was so excited to go and pick this guy up. I could have let him come a lot closer, but I just wanted to get him dead in case a kangaroo or something spooked. But look at the width on this guy. They are really beautiful looking. Their antlers are very simple, but they're really, really beautiful. And picking him up, I was waiting for that score, 201.5354. That is a really, really good trophy buck. Like I've said, anything over 200 seems to be really good. I have seen as far as a 210 being shot. So I'm saying anything over 200 is good at this point. And I'm really happy to have that as a benchmark to improve upon, basically. So I managed to get a really nice trophy picture of him there against the water, and I did tax him just as he is my biggest one. And now we move on to the last buck of this video. I spotted this buck as a kangaroo made him flee. There was 2 bucks in the area, both max weight tracks. I ended up tracking the wrong one, and by the time I came back to where he had spooked from, the tracks had gone. I then spent a little while walking around in the area hoping that I would just catch a glimpse of this guy, which is exactly what happened. And I was so relieved because I was determined to find this buck one way or another. I was not closing the session until I found him because he looked so giant. Now, that shot was just a body hit, but as I mentioned previously, with this rifle, that is more than enough to take one of these guys down. It's not the shot I wanted. I was kind of hoping to drop him on the train tracks, but more than anything at this point, I just wanted this buck dead, because after probably nearly 45 minutes of trying to find him, I just didn't want to lose him again, because the kangaroos are just a nightmare. If you spook one, they spook so far, and they spook the rest of the group, and then they spook everything around, and that's basically what happened. But look at this guy. What a monster. He looked really good, but he didn't have those extra points that I could see on that previous buck. But I crossed my fingers, and as I picked him up, 202.7166. Well worth the track to find this guy. That is a really awesome trophy. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed seeing some trophy Axis deer and what they look like in game. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.